Hello, friends. Welcome. Say hello, happy home. I'm happy to be here with you today with another installment of my ongoing series, Super Aging. And today we're going to talk about fluid and the role it plays in the number on the scale. So, my super aging journey started back in October of 25 with a weight loss journey because the first step in super aging is to get to and maintain an optimal weight. And for me, that means losing a significant amount of weight. As of this morning, I've lost 47 pounds, and it's been a long, slow process. But one of the things that can be very discouraging is fluid retention. And the the biggest problem that people have with fluid retention is some people are super sensitive to fluid, to sodium, and just a tiny little fraction of sodium can cause fluid retention. And the first thing that people think of when they're in a weight loss journey is, well, I'm going to take diuretics. I'm going to flush all of that fluid out so I weigh less and feel better. But actually, that can be counterproductive. Diuretics are important, but you should, if you're going to use a diuretic, please don't use an over-the-counter chemical-based. Use something like dandelion root or, cohosh liquor, black licorice oil. There's really good, safe, reliable supplements that have been studied with herbs and vitamins and minerals that have been studied for decades and decades that are very safe if used responsibly to maintain a proper fluid balance. If you have too little fluid, you're going to be dehydrated, and your body is going to respond by going into survival mode and saying, oh, there's not enough fluid here. I've got to hold on to what I have. So ironically, in an effort to reduce the amount of fluid that your body is holding onto with the use of diuretics, you can actually be causing your body to retain fluid. What you can do is do the opposite and take a hydration supplement. There are many reliable mineral supplements out there. I take a mineral supplement specifically for hydration. And when I use that, it helps your body maintain the correct amount of fluid for your body so that you're healthy and your organs are functioning properly and they're safe and healthy. So taking a hydration mineral supplement is actually the most common sense way of maintaining proper fluid control in your body, as opposed to taking diuretics. Diuretics can cause more problems than good, and again, they can have the opposite effect. They can actually put your body in survival mode, so it says, hey, I got to hold on to this fluid. But did you know that a 16-ounce cup of coffee, let's say you have a coffee cup. This is my coffee cup. Apparently it's 16 ounces, or so I've been told. 16 ounces of water equals 1 pound of weight on a scale. And fluids, such as water, coffee, milk, soda, whatever, they need to go through the same digestive process that solid food does. So when you ingest food and water and it goes into your stomach, as it's sitting in your stomach and it's still not yet digested, that's a full pound if you had 16 ounces of water. And if you drink 16 ounces of water and then right immediately jump on the scale, your weight will increase by about a pound. Now, the trick to getting the most accurate number on the scale is always to weigh yourself the very first moment that you wake up. You go into the bathroom, you poop, you pee, take your clothes off, whatever, and jump on the scale. And always try to do it at the same time every day. Always be sure that you have not had any sips, bites of any food or anything, and don't start being active before you jump on the scale. Always weigh yourself the same time and always wear the same clothes. For example, if you're naked when you weigh yourself naked every day. And try to pee and poop before you go, because all of that excess can actually be significant on the scale. If you there are people like super athletes and stuff that, when they have to have their weight just really precise, they'll take a dump and There's 2 pounds off the scale. Uh, the the scale will read your body differently if you have food sitting in your gut or fluid, like 16 ounces of water sitting in your gut. That's undigested. So a 16-ounce cup of coffee that you haven't drank yet weighs a pound. And it will weigh a pound in your gut until it is broken down and dispersed and utilized throughout your body and separated from the ultimate waste that comes out when you go to the bathroom. The scale can be a bully or it can be your best friend. Just depends on how you look at it. And if you go through plateaus, odds are it's because your body might be retaining more fluid. The first 25 to 30 pounds that a person loses is fluid. Literally, it's just fluid, excess fluid. And once your body starts to build more muscle and start to require, because you're in a food deficit, you're eating less calories, less sugar, less carbs, etc., and drinking more fluids. Once you're in that food deficit, then your body needs to rely on your fat cells to survive more than it did before. So it's harder to lose fat than it is fluid. And the scale will start to slow down, maybe a halfway, 3/4 the way through your weight loss journey, depending on, your individual journey. It's going to start to slow down. It's going to plateau, and it's going to be harder and harder to get that scale to inch down because it's starting to burn that fat. But one of the things that I noticed with me personally, and you may notice too, is that as you start to eat healthy, work out, maintain, have a balanced diet with balanced fluid amounts, that your body may become more and more sensitive to sodium. And if you're sensitive to sodium, your body is going to respond by holding on to excess fluid. And when you ingest that fluid along with food is very important. For me, I pretty much, 99.99% of the time, with the exception of date night or special occasions, I do all of my food and fluid intakes between 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. Now, if I'm working outside in the yard in excessive heat after work, I'm going to drink some water, but then I'm going to cut that off at 7 o'clock. And the reason you need to do that is because you need to give your body a chance to take whatever food and fluids are in your system at that time, break them down, disperse them, and separate them from the waste and get them through your digestive system before you get on the scale the next morning. So fluid is a tricky thing. Sodas are high in sodium, and they can trigger a sodium response in your body, which means you're going to retain excess fluid because of that sodium response. Just drinking 1 cup of coffee is equivalent to a pound. So when you think of food, when you think of fluid in terms of weight and how that's going to look on the scale, it really, it could just be black coffee, which is water, essentially, or just a glass of water. And you think, well, it's harmless, it's water. But it still goes through the same 8-hour process of going from your mouth out your bum, the same exact way that solid food does. It has to be broken down. It has to be digested and dispersed accordingly by your digestive system. So it is not just going to run right through you. It's not going to get absorbed immediately, and it doesn't flush. I know a lot of people, they talk about flushing. You just feel so much better. You feel better because you're hydrated. And when you're hydrated, there's no inflammation. Inflammation causes fluid buildup, which causes the pain and discomfort and limitations, but it's also adding pounds on the scale. So if you're trying a new workout or you overexerted yourself or you sprained your ankle, you're going to weigh a little more on the scale because your body is maintaining excess fluid as a form of protection from the injury or wherever the inflammation may be. So fluid plays an immense role in not just how you feel, how you look, but how your body is responding to sodium and your weight loss journey as a whole, because it does count toward the pounds or the ounces. In my case, I have a scale that does ounces as well. It plays a role in how that scale is going to respond to your body that morning. And if you are holding excess fluid, let's say you went to a big party, you ate a lot of salty foods, you woke up the next day, you're a little puffy, you get on the scale, it jumped 1 to 3 pounds, for example, it could take you 2, 3, maybe even 4 days for that fluid to release and leave your body. And I find personally that if I have any fluid retention, I take my mineral supplement for hydration, because my body, I know specifically, is very hypersensitive to sodium and will respond in survival mode if I take diuretics. I do have a dandelion root that I do take occasionally, but I find that by balancing out minerals in my body responds better to fluid release when I'm retaining fluid. So it's not just about counting calories, it's about counting ounces of fluid. It's about knowing how to control that fluid balance and prevent it from jumping that scale, that number on that scale, because that can be so heartbreaking, soul crushing, discouraging when all it is just fluid. You don't gain fat overnight. Takes a bit of time to gain fat and a lot of effort on your part of excessive eating of high fat and cholesterol foods with a lot of, carbs and so on, not getting any activity, so on and so forth. It takes a bit of time to gain actual fat. And it takes an equally a lot of time to lose those pounds of fat. But the scale can be a very, very dangerous place emotionally if you are sensitive to sodium, because that is what triggers fluid retention. And if you've had a lot of excessive salty foods, that will cause you to retain fluid, and that fluid can cause your scale to jump 1 to 3 pounds. Some people record that they wake up with fluid retention and the scale jump 5 pounds, and it's just fluid, it's not fat. So fluid does play a significant role in in weight loss and how you understand the readings on the scale. And once you do understand how the role that fluid plays, and that fluid, like the tides, it's temporary. But you can't continuously have high salty meals for several days in a row or not work out, because exercise expels excess fluid as well. Take care of those inflamed joints, because those are things that retain that fluid. And you've got very healthy, practical ways to eliminate excess fluid through exercise, through relaxation, and through really, really healthy doses of minerals, because these mineral supplements for hydration are specific. They eliminate fluid retention because they properly disperse the fluid through your body and let it flow where it needs to go. And it also addresses fluid that's built up around, let's say, arthritic joints and the inflammation, because it reduces that inflammation. So the next time you pick up a cup of coffee and you think, it's just water, just black coffee, it's water, think again. That's a pound. That's a pound. And it's going in your gut, and it's taken the same 8 hours to break down and process in the digestive system, just as a cheeseburger would. And you don't want to know what a cheeseburger would weigh. Yeah. So watch that sodium intake. Monitor where your body is at when you drink fluid. How do you feel? Do you wake up puffy the next day when you drink too much fluid? Are you gulping your fluid and drinking a lot at once? Or are you sipping it throughout the day? Sipping fluids is a way to get all the fluid that you need without it sitting in your gut and adding pounds to the scale. And I want to know about your journeys. Please reach out to me. I'd love to know where you're at in your super aging journey, or how much weight you've lost in your weight loss journey. Let me know if you've learned any tips and tricks along the way that you would like to share. And until next time, do good and be good.